Recording in progress.
Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to our weekly team training call. So these calls are put on weekly for us to give you guys, a little bit more of like simplistic breakdowns of things, to give you guys that time for us to do Q&A with you guys, so that if you've been on the charts throughout the week, if you've been doing trades and maybe you're just struggling in one area or you have any questions, that's what these weekly calls are really designed for, so that you can come back here, ask those questions, and hopefully we can give you the answers you need to be able to just get over that little obstacle that you may be facing. So I think one of the absolute most important parts about trading is marking up your charts. So knowing your support and resistance zones, okay? Because that are the main factors in what the trend is doing and where we place those trades. And then also, once you've placed those trades, to know whether you have the confidence in knowing, okay, where is this trade going? So if it breaks through my support or my resistance, where is it going to go next, right? To know whether you're going to maybe stay in that trade, or maybe you might take a different entry, or you might roll it over if you have a broker that rolls over. So it just gives you that confidence to kind of know, okay, if they break through this part, where will my trade most likely go to next? So I'm going to pass it over to my husband, Christian. He is now with us full time, and he is an amazing trader, and he is going to just show you guys a really good, simple way of marking up your charts and kind of being able to do this on multiple time frames, and then from there having multiple support and resistance zones marked up, so that as the markets move or as these trends change, we know where they're likely to go to next. So I will pass it on to you, Christian, and then you can share your screen and just show everybody. And we want this to be like really interactive. So we want you guys to, as you're seeing this, ask questions, just continue to keep this interactive so that we kind of know where are you at, where you need help, where you need to, where you're having those obstacles. So as he's sharing his screen, ask those questions. He'll be talking, I'll be checking the chat to make sure that we're keeping up to date with your questions. So pass it over to you. Like, we're on two laptops, so bear with us, okay? If you can't hear us, or if we're like...
It's something to do with their audio.
Can you hear us? Can you guys hear us? Can you drop in the chat?
We can hear you, but it's really tinny. It's very, very tinny.
Yeah. Okay, let's just try it.
Have you turned yours off? Can you guys hear me okay? Or is it still quite tinny? You need to just keep that silent. Is it still quite tinny, or is it a little bit better?
That sounds great.
It sounds great. Okay.
It was me all along.
Yeah.
I was the issue.
All right. Hello, everybody. Jemma's talked me up as being this exceptional trader, so I have to live up to her expectations. I'm not a master or a teacher. In fact, I've never taught anybody how to trade. So that's just a caveat there. I've never taught anybody how to trade. I've just been trading for the last year or so, and really in the last 6 months, I've really seen good success in my trading strategy. There's so many different trading strategies, and I'm sure, and everybody goes to different depths on how they trade. Some people use hundreds of indicators, and well, not hundreds, but use a lot of indicators, and obviously there's different trading strategies. There's a lot to take into account. My trading style is just basically scalping, HFX. I do very short trades. I do 3-minute trades. And I really work heavily just on finding support and resistance zones. You know, you've got your RSI, you've got your stochastic, and there's different teachers in the academy that'll teach you certain things like, you know, crossovers and certain entry points. I don't really, to be honest, my strategy is so simple. I don't really focus much on anything other than Bollinger Bands and resistance lines. And most recently, I've been, you know, now that I'm not working full time anymore, I've been able to spend more time sort of fine tuning my trading strategy. And in the last, you know, in the last month or two, it's just really picked up for me. And it seems to be, you know, now it's just sort of cascading, and it's a rolling effect where I'm just getting better and better and better. And you know, I've never done live trading, and I've never actually taught this. So, you know, I'm not saying that everything's going to go perfect. So that's the caveat there. But I figured now that I have the time, and Jemma and I have been blessed with the opportunity to, you know, to work from home, and we're just so grateful for what I Am Academy and Amanda and you know, what everybody, the whole team has put together for it. And now we're really benefiting from it. You know, I'm not going to spend too much longer on it, but you know, a couple of years ago, I was grinding. I was working honestly 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, never saw my kids, and Jemma was dabbling and doing all these crazy things to try and make money on the side, and it was really difficult for us at that stage. I ended up basically losing my job because there's a new owner that came on board, and they did some things that I wasn't, you know,
wasn't ethical.
Yeah, that I found wasn't ethical, and so I ended up sort of leaving in a bad manner, and I was very down and low, and I wasn't, you know, I wasn't working for a couple of months, and we were out of money. And so I had to pick myself up again. Obviously, we've got 2 kids, and I just had to find a job. And so I just jumped on the next job available. It was paying, you know, basically minimum wage. I just jumped into anything because my self-esteem was that low. And then I just started working, but then Jemma came off I Am Academy. And from there, it's been 1 year.
And you were skeptical at first.
100%.
You don't want me to do it because of all my other ventures that didn't go to plan. But
yeah,
now we're here, and
the reason why I'm touching on this is because I don't know how many people are on here by now, but I'm sure that
43.
There's some of you might be, you know, doing quite well already and trading and just trying to get some extra learnings to fine tune what you're doing, which is great. And you know, I'd love to learn from some of you guys if you're doing well. And but some of you might still be, you know, in the beginning phases where you're trying, and maybe you have had a little bit of success, and it sort of gets your hopes up, and then you lose a few trades, and your account goes down, and then, you know, you're back in that sort of rut again. Some of you might have blown accounts. I've blown a few accounts in the past, you know, and I've learned from those. Those are hard lessons to learn. But you just have to keep persevering. And the reason why I mentioned all this is just to let you know that, you know, there's real people like me and Jemma right now that are, you know, we're not millionaires yet, but we're going to be, like, no doubt. I've got no doubt in my mind, because we've fine-tuned this, and now it's just waiting. It's just a step-by-step, day-by-day process to get there, and we're just slowly compounding, and it's working for us. So I'm just going to quickly show you. I've got quite an sort of, I like to track things. Somebody trying to talk, or is that?
Yeah, just maybe mute yourselves out if you can.
Don't lose out on this energy.
I'm going to admit.
We are
Mutual.
Yeah, mutual.
Yeah. Mute all. Can everybody still hear me okay? If you just say, somebody just write in the chat or let me know. Yeah, all good. Okay. And sorry, I'm no good with Zoom, so I'm learning this as well today, and I'm winging everything. I didn't prepare for this. I'm winging it all, so it's just real. It's just me giving you what I do.
I'm working.
So now I'm just going to share my screen.
Just got a more.
There we go, and share screen. Share.
And you can close the chat down. I can keep an eye on that.
Okay, yeah, that'll be good, because then it's less distracting. Good. Okay, so I'm just going to show you just for some people, because I remember when I first started, and you know, I was seeing some luck, and I was trying different things. I was listening to educators, but I was sort of mucking around and trying my own strategies, like trying to sort of cheat the system, like, oh, I'll find a better way of doing it. And I don't know if anybody else has experienced that. Maybe that's just me, but I started dabbling in different things, and you know, I learned from it. Actually, I got some good, you know, I learned a few good things from that. But it's only when I really started just stopped being this gambling mindset, or you know, just trying to get rich quick and trying to make it, you know.
Sometimes, like, I just want to add to that, because sometimes we join this, like, I know for us anyway, maybe not for everybody, but like we join this in a desperate position, right? Like we're trying to escape our current lifestyle, just rat race. And so we were trying to, initially at the very beginning, we're trying to make money really fast, or like trying to compound, or like, where we soon learned over time that this is slow and steady, you know, small growth every single day is gonna get you there a lot faster than trying to grow your account huge amounts every single day, you know. So I think that's also just a super little powerful thing. Small growth every day is going to get you there.
Yeah. And so just so that you know, you guys don't know who I am. You know, you've got, you know, I could just be, you know, some guy that.
So this is the speedometer. What's that?
Yeah,
okay, let's just mute. Do you want to make me host?
Sorry, I'll just get.
Sorry, guys. It's just so that I can mute people out, and let me just.
Not sure what that's for.
Sorry, guys, bear with me. If I can be host, then I can take care of all of that, and Christian can just literally do everything else. Okay.
All right. Okay. And this is our first time doing this together, so we're you know, sorry for the hiccups. You know, figuring it out, we'll get there. So what I wanted to show you is, if you can still see my screen here, is I do just 3-minute trades, and I've got a tracking spreadsheet that I use, and I've just hidden a whole bunch of the stuff because I know that we're not supposed to show numbers and that sort of thing. But I just thought I'd show you, this is the last few dates, so you can see the dates on there. These are sort of my wins and my losses. And just to show you the track record that I'm on currently, you know, if we go back to a few days ago, this was the 24th. I do practice sessions, and then I do real sessions. So sometimes, because you want to try, when you're trying to compound for long-term gains, you don't want to be doing, you know, 20 trades a night to try and make your money. Well, that's in my opinion. In my opinion, you know, if I can do 2 trades, and 2 really good trades, and win, you know, you guys have heard this a million times from the educators, but if I can do 2 trades and good trades and win, then that's great. Sometimes I do 2 trades and I'm done for the night, because I've made that, I've made my percentage, and I'm happy with that. And I've slowly learned to, you know, to control myself. The problem with that I saw was, you know, you do your 2 trades, and then, yeah, you might get lucky, you win your 2 and you're done for the night. But then you're not getting any more practice, obviously. And demo practicing is good, particularly if you're first starting out, because when you're first starting out, you're not going to know what you're doing. You're going to waste money if you chuck in real money. So demo practicing initially, if you're first joined, you know, I 100% am a big advocate. Demo practice for a month, 2, maybe 3 months, you know, it depends on your situation. But there needs to be a time where you transition to real money, because there is that mental aspect. You know, I can trade on demo. It's not real money, and I know it's not real money. You can pretend like you know, you want to pretend that it's real money and you want to be strict, but I think that trading with real money is the only way to really learn, and then you'll overcome that the sort of fear from trading, because when you're dealing with real money, there's this fear, and you become more hesitant to take your trades. And so I like to practice with real money as well. And so what I do is I would have my real trading session at a specific time of night. So I trade at nighttime, around anywhere from 7:30 to 9:30, because we've got kids. We try and get them in bed, but there's a lot going on in our lives right now. So I trade my real trading session for our bigger account to try and grow it. And with that session, I will do a maximum of 4 trades. So maximum of 4 trades. And quite often, if I win the first 2, quite often I'm just, I'm content with that, and I'll just stop for the night. Sometimes, if I win the 2 and I see another really good setup, then yeah, I'll enter that. And if I win the 3rd one and I see a really good setup, then I might enter a 4th trade, and then I'm done for the night. If I won all 4, even if I've, even if I, yeah.
Or sometimes if we hit our percentage goal, we just lower our percentage that we're trading
and
with.
that way
you're securing your true profit in terms of whatever percentage you're going for at the moment, whether it's 2%, 4%, 5%, 8%, whatever it is. If you've hit that goal and you're still in the flow and you're feeling good, then you can still continue, but just lower your percentage. So if you're, say, trading with 2%, go 0.5 or 1%. That way, if you lose that trade, you're not going to eat into your actual winning gains. That was a really good lesson we learned, was we're on our roll, and then all of a sudden, 1 to 2 trades can then wipe out some of that percentage. So if you're on a good roll and you want to keep on going on live, and otherwise switch to demo if you don't have a big enough account yet, that's what I'd recommend. But if you're wanting to continue live, just really lower that percentage to secure your profits that you've just won.
Yeah. And also, I'm still a huge advocate of doing a live account. If you can afford to put $50 in an account, you've got to be at least knowing what you're doing. You don't want to play around with a live account if you don't know what you're doing, right? Start off with demo, but then $50 and just do $1 trades for your practicing. But the reason why I'm mentioning that is, so on this day, on the 24th, if you look on my screen here, on the 24th, you can see I did 2 trades. Okay, that was my 2 trades, and these lines show sort of the end of a session. So I did my 2 trades, and you can see there I did 3-minute trades. I won both of those trades. Then after that, the problem with just sticking with 2 trades is that you don't get time to practice. If you just do your 2 trades a day, you might win 2 and then you don't get any practice, or you might lose 2, you feel like crap, and then you don't get any time to practice, and you just want to go revenge trade. So what I like to do is I do my main session, get that out of the way. I stick to my rules on my main session. Then I've got a practice session. And on my practice session, I do 0.25%. So a very small amount of my, because if I have a great practice trading session, I want to be able to make a little bit of money out of it. And if I've got a really, if it's a really bad practice session, then I don't lose as much. It doesn't eat away as much. So unfortunately, fortunately, but at the same time, unfortunately, this next one here on the 24th, that was my practice session. So you can see I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I don't know, but maybe 15 trades, maybe more, 17 trades. And out of that 17 trades, I lost 2. So that's a pretty good ratio. You're looking at above 95% there. And so that was my practice session. Technically, on my practice sessions, I say if I have 2 losses, I'll keep going until I have 2 losses, and then I'm done. On that one there, I had a rollover one which kept going, and then I entered another trade, so I didn't cheat there. It was they were going at the same time. Anyways, and so this is just to show you a little bit of my track record recently, to show you that I do know what I'm talking about, and that we are legit, and that you can do it too. Honestly, we're just 2 normal Kiwi people who just randomly stumbled across this, and we've put in the time, and we didn't let it. We didn't give up. That's
honestly the most crucial part of this. And the reason why we're going over this before we just go straight into marking up charts is we want you to also understand the mindset that it takes to win big and continue compounding and truly change your life. Like, we really struggled to begin with. And then it was the whole blowing accounts and all these things. And it wasn't until we tracked our trades, until we kept each other accountable, until we put systems in place to treat this like a real business, heavily work on our money mindset, right? That is huge. A lot of people come into this with a bad money mindset. You're going to feel it in the charts. You have to almost look after all areas to truly see success in this, and just be patient, stay committed, and literally it is 1,000% worth it. And that's what we are hoping these weekly team calls are going to help you guys to catch the vision, to get excited. When you have losing days, understand it's okay. don't be attached to your losses, and don't be over attached to your wins either, because at the end of the day, you're going to experience both. And that's why we heavily recommend tracking.
Yeah.
That way you can start seeing what's happening. So
Yeah.
a lot of people also just wanted to know here,
Yeah.
we use a different broker. So we use a broker called Binary Cent.
I'll show you
The reason
our
why,
broker, actually.
you'll just have to make, are you on? Oh yeah, you're
I'm
on
sharing
a,
my screen.
yeah,
So
you're on a demo account.
Yeah.
Okay, so Binary Cent it's like pocket option, but it allows a thing called rollover. Now, the thing is some people, like, I know Amanda doesn't like rollover. There's a lot of people who don't like rollover. We like rollover, and what it essentially does is, if you're in a trade for 3 minutes, and based upon our markups, we heavily believe the market is still going to go up. We just need a little bit more time for it to do that. You can click an option called rollover, and it extends your clock. Now, it does also add more money on, right? So that's why it's just important to know these things. But we loved it. So that's why we've gone with this style of broker. And I think that's why it's important for everybody to do their own research in their brokers to decide what is it that you enjoy. And a good way to decide if you want to broker with rollover is, say if you're trading on pocket option and you've got to get out of that. If you're trading on pocket option and you are, say you lose a trade, right? Then you look at it, and within, say, a minute or two, that trade would have won, right? So your indicators, your everything was right. The only difference was you needed a little bit more time in order for that trade to have been a successful trade. That's when maybe pocket option is something you might want to consider in a broker, so hopefully that explains what rollover means and why we chose to choose a broker that allows it.
I might just very quickly add to that. So just when you enter a trade on pocket option, yeah, you've got that limited time. Maybe you've got a 3-minute trade. That's all that you have. If you win or lose within that 3 minutes, that's all that you have. The rollover on Binary Cent, you pay 30% more. So if I've got a $10 trade going, then if I choose to extend my time, it'll extend my time by another, usually about 1.5 minutes, usually about half the time. It actually varies for different brokers, but about half the time of what you're in for. So if I do a 3-minute trade, it might, sometimes there's different brokers and they do it different ways. So it extends the time for you. And with Binary Cent, it costs you 30% more. So if I was in a $10 trade, it would now be a $13 trade to extend that time. The reason why a lot of the, a lot of traders, in all honesty, don't like rollover is because it becomes very easy to revenge trade. You can get attached. You can get attached to a trade, and you really want it to win, and everything looks like it's going to go in the right direction, and then you keep rolling it over and keep rolling it over. And if you keep doing that, the compounding effect, you guys have seen the compound calculator, the compounding effect of adding 30% to your trade. The first entry is $10, then it becomes $13, then it becomes $18, then it becomes $30. It starts compounding very quickly every time you roll it over, and that's why people don't like rollover. So for me and Jemma, when we trade, I only allow 2 rollovers max. So that's what I've, if you look at my spreadsheet here, I actually track my trades. So those trades, I won them all. They were all 3-minute trades that didn't require any rollover. There's a 3-minute one with 1 rollover, there's a 3-minute one, and then a 3-minute one with 2 rollovers. So the great thing about it is if you win a rollover, you spent a little bit more money, which means you win a little bit more money, which is great. But the bad thing about it is here, on the 31st, that was a 2 rollover trade. And I lost it, which means you lose a lot more because you've invested a lot more. So, you'll find your own strategy. Amanda and a lot of the traders don't utilize. I think Faith as well. They don't utilize rollover at all. And my hat goes off to them. Full respect to them for doing that. They're obviously, I think, more patient with taking their trades. I found that when, like, for example, a lot of you may have watched Rico strategy. Like, can you guys just type in the chat there if you guys are doing Rico strategy at all? I know that he's been quite popular and he's a great teacher. I really like the way that he just communicates in general. So good. Yeah.
That's what we start most people off on. So when they join us,
good.
we send them to Rico because he's just amazing at breaking everything down. So I think we should get into the charts because we've got about half an hour
Sorry,
now.
guys. Yeah. Okay, now I've stopped sharing my screen for some reason. Hear me.
So good. Just go back.
And
Just make it.
Okay, so anyways, I'm going to stop talking. Let me share this. Share screen. Host disabled.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I'll allow you again. Sorry. Okay.
So yeah, I like Rico's strategy. But for me, it was like, I love the way that he looks at charts. So I learned a lot from him. But I'm too impatient. I'm an impatient trader. So waiting around, it seemed like we were just waiting for our trades for ages and ages and ages. And I guess I'm just too impatient. So I've sort of do a quicker strategy, which is why I need to utilize rollover more often than say some of these other guys. So let's share the screen and now we'll get into the actual part.
So the amazing thing is about this as well is like, there's, you're going to learn different things from everybody. Like even our strategy today is probably a combination of about 3 educators that we've combined and almost created our own strategy. We are also going to be doing live trading for you guys once a week. So you'll be able to jump on with Christian and myself and we'll be calling out trades. So you guys can watch live trading take place and see our strategy. Okay. That's not to say you don't watch Rico. That's not to say you don't follow their strategy. That's just for you guys as an additional learning tool. That's heavily, I feel like a big part of our success was the fact that we were able to watch educators live trade and watch the markets in real time, watch people trading in real time. It really, I think, helps. So we want to do that for you guys once a week where you can jump on with us. And even if you're just still trading on demo, take those trades with us on demo and just get practicing. Honestly, the people that are successful are the ones who are in the charts, are the ones who are taking trades, are the ones that are not letting the fear of losses or whatever stop them from getting back in. So that's our aim, is to have these weekly training calls and then also do some live trading with you guys.
I'm super excited for the live trading. Like I've always wanted, I love watching the educators. And man, if I can help you guys, I'd be so stoked. It would just make me so happy to have other people feel what we're experiencing right now. So anyways, so let's just get into now. Like I said, caveat, I'm not an educator. I'm not an educator. This is just what I do. And it's whether it's right or wrong, there's thousands of different ways to trade. A lot of you guys, you may even be sort of more experienced than I am. Admittedly, I've been trading for a year, but I was working 12-hour days throughout most of that time. So I didn't have that much time to learn. And now that I am sort of, my time's free, I'm picking back up on my learning again. And this is just what's been working for me. So when I look into trading, right, I like to like most of the strategies, and you guys can all see my screen here. I like to trade on the 5 minute, but I use the 1 minute and the 15 minute to help me decide on my trades. And I'll get to that in a moment. But the first thing that I do every time when I go to trade is I usually clear off my charts, and then I go into the daily candle, because as you guys should know, if you've done a bit of learning, the higher the time frame, the more solid the resistance lines are generally. So if you can start with marking up your charts on higher time frames, then when the what do you call it, the entry point works its way up or down to that resistance line from the higher time frame, it's more likely to bounce back off of it. So that's why I start off on the day chart. And to be honest, I don't spend a lot of time on it. So all I do is here, I've jumped onto the daily candles. We can see all of the daily candles here.
Can you mark up the charts and show them?
Yes, I'm going to. Yep.
Okay.
So this is the daily candle at the moment for today, but as you can see, the market, there's 21 hours left on this candle. So this candle has only just been going for 3.5 hours. 2.5 hours. So it's not a full day yet, but still, because it's worked its way up to here, what I do on the daily candle is I just come and grab the top of the wick and the bottom of the current daily candle, the bottom of the wick. Okay.
And obviously this is going to move, but this is just current, right?
So I can see it's already come up to here at some point and it's resisted off it. It's come back down. It started here, it went down, it resisted off that and went back up. Now, the key thing with the daily candle is usually, I mean, this has only been going for an hour and a half, but usually the daily candle for me, when I start trading, it's been going for like 12 hours or something, which means it can be quite a wide range. And because I'm an impatient trader and I don't want to wait hours for a trade setup, what I then want to do is I want to see where is the current price action at? Where is it at? It's at here. And can I find any closer resistance lines on these higher timeframes? Because I want to be able to catch it soon. I'm going to be trading for the next 45 minutes. So I want to be able to catch these trades soon. So right now, I can't really see much. If I look back here, you know, this touchdown here, which is just a confirmation of this daily candle resistance, which is great. I like to see that. But if I work along here, I can't really see anything within these timeframes. I would say that this looks like it's going to be coming back up possibly. So I might end up pushing past this resistance line in my trading session. So if I come through here, I can see there a few days ago, it touched back there. And I don't do much more than that. You don't want to go, there's no point in marking all the way up here if you're never going to get there in the next half an hour. So my daily one is done for that. And then I'll just jump down to a lower time frame and take a look. What's been happening in the last 4 hours? So in the last 4 hours, you know, you can see that we had a big heavy push down. It looks like we hit off some resistance over here, and here you can start sort of semi-adjusting it. So I hit the bottom of that wick there, but I can also see back through here there's some possible other resistance lines that it may respect. So here you've got the bottom of this wick. And then I'll track it back here and see if it's touching anything. How many points of touch points can I get? Now this isn't the greatest chart, to be honest, to be showing this on, but given where it's at right now, it could work its way down to here. I like it that this is pushed down and come back up, and I've got sort of the open and close area here. So I'm just going to shove one in there, and then I'll go down to the 1 hour. And on my 1 hour, what has it been doing? It looks like we're heading into some consolidation. In the 1 hour chart, we've got that, sorry, just over here, the bottom of these candles there, where it could possibly work its way down to. And then the lowest point would be the bottom of that candle there.
Wick, yeah.
That wick there. So now I've got sort of an area here. If it starts coming down, I've got a few places where I could take it off. Those two there seem a bit close. You can sort of see I chucked that in on the daily, but there's no point in having so many resistance lines so close. So I'm just going to get rid of that one there, and you can make these adjustments. So I can see sort of right now it's actually sitting on some resistance on the 1 hour, and you want to usually when price action reverses, usually it does it at the end of a candle. Okay, so when the candle ends. So this is the 1 hour one, but I can see it's still got 25 minutes to go. It could just sort of bounce around up here for the next 25 minutes and then reverse. If this had only 5 minutes to go on the 1 hour, I would be jumping in on this trade straight away. I'd go down to my lower time frames and check them out, because to me it tells me it's been pushing up, it's hitting a solid resistance line, a well-known resistance line, and if it's the 1 hour, then you know it's a solid resistance line, and when that switches over to the new candle, more than likely it'll come back down. And sorry, I'm just sort of teaching as I go, but
this is the kind of stuff we'll be teaching you guys on our actual trading sessions.
Yeah.
So when Christian does live trading, he'll take the trade, you guys will enter it, and while we're waiting for that trade to roll out, he will explain and let
me know if there's any relevant questions coming through. Like, I don't want to pause all the time. You can even
say try and find a different currency pair that isn't in consolidation, and
that's fine.
That
well, I'll just quickly move down the the time
Okay,
frames here.
finish
So
this one off, yeah.
I haven't finished marking up my charts because I trade on the 5 minutes. So I just work my way down the time frames and just sort of figure it out from there. So I go down to my 30 minutes. So you can see this has been bouncing around here for ages. This is a solid line. I'm really liking that. There is a possibility that it pushes through this. So where would it push to is the question. Now, this is pushed up to here. It could wick up to there again. So I will put that there as a, it's wicked up to there previously. This could push through, wick up to there and bounce back. And I only take 3 minutes trades, 3-minute trades. So all I need is for it to just do a little bounce back and then I win the trade. Or we might get some real solid, some news coming out or some real solid movement in the market. And, it's possible that it comes back up to this wick here and that one there. Now this is the 30-minute chart. So that's why I'm putting so many in there. Some people don't like to do this many resistance lines. I like to know where the resistance points are. I like to have multiple resistance points past where I'm trading so that if it pushes through one, I automatically know where my next entry is going to be. So I trade as I go. And if it pushes through the resistance line that I thought, I can see where the next resistance line is. If it's not very far away, I may utilize a rollover because I feel like it could bounce off that other one and reverse. So I like to have my, some people think that's too many lines. For me, I like to have many lines and many directions within my trading session.
So Stephanie wants to know, so are all your support and resistance line between the top and bottom of the daily candle?
Currently they are. So if I go back to the daily candle, this will change though. So this is our daily candle for today, right? So, actually, no, these have pushed out past. Usually when I trade, this is not my normal trading time. Usually when I trade, the daily candle is almost ended. So normally they would be. So you can look at this daily candle here. It's huge. Yesterday's daily candle. So normally my markups would be within the daily candle, but at the moment, just because this is a brand new candle that I've used to mark up, it's not. But there's no rule to that. It's not like you should just do your markings within the daily candle. What you really are trying to achieve is looking at where price is currently, and there's no point in marking up your charts all the way down here because there's no, if I there's a resistance line in there, there's no point in doing that because if you're doing scalping, it could take hours for that to get back down there. So there's no point. So really you want to look at where you're at and look on either side of where you're at currently and see whether you can find resistance points. Like even here, you've got that flat line there and a couple there. Maybe I'd pop one in there, but I think even now it's probably a little bit far away.
I think you got enough. So I think the most important thing is start with your daily, work your way down and adjust your support and resistance lines on those lower time frames if need be, to get a really good indication as multiple touch points on either the wick or the base of the candle. And like Christian says, having a few like above and below
where you're trading
just helps you know where the market will go to if it breaks through those current support and resistance lines.
Yeah.
So
now I've taken, quite a bit of time on this because I'm talking through it, but honestly, marking up my charts takes a few minutes, like 2 minutes. It really doesn't take long because I'm not faffy about it. I just look for touch points. That's it. And then as you work away, normally I do the daily, the 4 hour and the 1 hour. I don't normally do the 30. And then I'll just go down my time frames and I'll just take a look and possibly make some adjustments because resistance lines, it's not a science. Oh, sorry, get rid of that. It's not a science. So they're more, as we know, they're resistance zones. They're not solid lines. Sometimes it'll push onto it and it'll bounce straight off of that point. Sometimes it'll wick a little bit past it and then come back. So I'll go into the 15-minute and I don't want to miss trades. So if you look at this area here where it's worked down to here, it's touched on this resistance line here. And it, let's just say it works its way back down here. It could be that it only goes to the base of the candle and it never actually makes it down to this entry point. So for me, if this was going to work its way back down there, I want to make sure that I'm in a trade, because this to me will be a reversal point. I want to make sure that I'm in this trade. And if I only go off this line, it might not actually, just like this red candle here, it stopped there. It didn't quite make it down to that line. So when it comes back down again, it might just stop there. And then if I don't have a zone marked up, I'll miss that trade. So for me, I'm looking at this, usually the base of a candle and the end of a wick becomes a zone for me. And so then I will take, my square marking tool, and there's my sort of entry zone for, for around this this resistance line. So now we're up in here, and I can see, the price has actually pushed through that 1 hour
Daily.
resistance line. Sorry, there's the 1 hour, I think it was the one, or the daily one that I put on there, and it's pushed through it. So if the 15-minute closes above this, you could see it working up, or you could see how it's got this wick action. It could come back down, but either way, I've got my resistance line. So if it works its way up here, I'm in for a sell there. If it closes here and comes down, remember that previous ceilings are the new floors. So if it closes above here and comes back down, I'll be looking for a call back up there. But there's a few things that I want to confirm before I do that.
I just want to answer one question before you
Yes.
continue. So Stephanie wants to know, are you only putting resistance lines and no support? So with Christian's markups,
yeah,
he doesn't color code his for support and resistance. So he just looks at it like the bottom line is obviously like your resistance and your top is your.
So the reason why I don't color code them is because I trade on such small time frames that often they'll push through those resistance lines within the hour or within the 45 minutes that I'm trading. I just call them all resistance lines, whether it's a floor or a ceiling, they're all resistance lines to me. I don't color code them because they often push through them and then become a floor. So if I made them green, it's just going to get confusing. I'll have to constantly be switching them. So for me, it's just
a personal preference.
Yeah, you
right?
do.
So if you want a color code, just make a support and resistance in your colors, right? So one being green, one being red. And then obviously your upper ones, you're going to make green, your lower ones, you're going to make red. But we just do that so that, like you say, if you're in and out of these markets and they're pushing through, you're not now thinking, oh no, what is this? Is it a support or is it a resistance? Now that it's pushed through, that can be confusing. So for us, we know the top line is obviously that resistance. The bottom line is our support. We know that visually. So even as it breaks through, now we automatically know that that line is now our new support, even though it was the previous resistance, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. That's not to say that this is right or wrong. This is just what we do, So everybody is going to find a way that works for them. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I've sort of gotten out of my flow here. So working my way down the time frames, right? So, and as you work your way down the time frames, you can make adjustments. It's not a set thing, or you can add in a few extras. Like this resistance line here, or support, sorry. I just call them all resistance. All right. This one here I marked up on a higher time frame, and you could, after a few candles, this is the 15-minute candle, we could see it come back down to this point and possibly take a trade. But now that I'm on the 30-minute, I don't see a huge amount of support coming in through here. So I only see this one little wick end here, which is what I marked up on the 1 hour, I think. But now that I'm on the 30-minute, I can make these adjustments. So the top of these candles here sort of come down to this point where it's wicking past, and this is also wicked past that point. So for me, I would say it's probably likely that there'd be an entry point here somewhere if it works its way down. And then I would go down to the even lower time frames and take a look at what's happening currently. This one here looks good. If it ever works its way down to there, definitely I'd take that. At the top here, let's see what's happening. Oh, sorry. At the top here, it looks like we've been in a heavy downwards trend. So now we're going into a consolidation. It's kind of a harder one to sort of gauge. But if you look at the bottom of this wick here, and I come across, I've got a few tops here that have almost come out to there. It's topped out through there. So that there, where it's just come up to, looks like a pretty good point to me. And
Christian actually loves trading consolidation.
I do, yeah. Consolidation is definitely where I make the most of our money, because it's just more predictable, in my opinion. So where we're at now, these have wicked up past there, and it's working its way down. I like that as a new zone for taking a trade if it comes back up. Now, see, this is quite a big zone. I've created quite a big zone, but it's because it's got these long wicks. It generally does quite a big action up there. So now if I work my way down, even here, I like this because I take such short trades. Right now I'm on the 15-minute. So, because I take really short trades, if you go down to the 5-minute now, it could take 10 minutes or 15, it could take 20 minutes to get back down to there. And I'm too impatient for that. So now on the 5-minute, I can see here, there is, some solid support forming along here. You can see it all along there, a lot of support. And for the last however long, I mean, that's 5, it could be almost an hour there with a 5-minute time frame. It's really bounced off that. It may have wicked down and touched this other zone here, but then it's always supported off there. So for me, that looks great. Like, I just shove one in there. And if you want to be honest, I don't really use these boxes in my real trading, but it's just to give you an idea. There is the zone right between those two there. So now looking at this looks like quite a good consolidative market. We've got slight upwards trend here, but I think it'll work its way back down to here. And if it does, I'm definitely trading that up. And the one thing, I'm not sure how experienced, everybody is. We've probably got people on here with varied experience, and some of you may be more experienced than I am. But just very quickly, for those of you that are new, obviously, you guys all know about Bollinger Bands. The Bollinger Bands are basically like rubber bands where it comes down to it and it resists off of it. You'll always see it bouncing between your Bollinger Bands, and then you've got your moving average in the middle. And for me, I try and, I think about these, I think about these 3 points as my main trading points. Okay. So I don't like to take trades generally if they're not at one of these points. Sometimes I do, and I'll explain why just in a moment. But as a general rule, I only take trades when they're, nearing or in the Bollinger Bands, or if they're nearing or pushing onto your EMA or the bottom Bollinger Bands. Because then I've got, if I look on my marked up points here, let me just move into there. So this is sort of not a great example of it, but here in the top here, taking a downwards trend, I'm in the Bollinger Band. My zone is in the Bollinger Bands. So taking a downwards call for me makes a lot of sense when it's within that zone. And then the next thing that we're going to get to is entry points, because there's these zones, but if you're not entering them at the right times, then it can often lead to, you're not winning a trade, or, if you're lucky, you do. And there's none of this is an exact science. All we're trying to do is better our chances. And we're trying to predict what's going to happen and increase our odds of winning it. None of it's an exact science. So what I teach you here it's not going to work every time. And it all comes down to the individual as well. Sometimes you'll make different decisions based on, your experience. So,
but I think your successes are very much to do with your timing. Like you get in so right at the time. So timing, within that 3 minutes, you're just in it. And that's the type of thing we will definitely be teaching you guys through the live trading sessions,
Now, it looks like...
Do you trade consolidation a lot more or more of trending markets?
I do both. I really do both. I like consolidation because it's more easy to predict. When it's going up to the Bollinger Bands, it usually comes back down all the way to the Bollinger Bands, and it usually goes all the way back up to the Bollinger Bands. So it's nicer. It's a nicer trading session, but you can easily get caught out. A lot of the time I jump on to trade consolidation, and then out of nowhere, the market shifts. And but there's ways to try and protect yourself from that. So like right now, if you look at this chart, when I'm looking at the 5 minute, we look like we're actually sort of semi upwards trending. We're trending slightly upwards, but it's sort of consolidation. I feel like it might.
The bands have narrowed in. So that's just what you've got to look out for. Like, are they narrowing in? And is it going to continue, or is it going to push up? Like, what is it actually doing? Because we were in a heavy down, then we kind of gone up, and now we've kind of gone into that consolidation. But look at that now.
So there's the trade
the
trade that I'd be taking. So now the thing is that because this is heading up, it's a riskier trade for me. I'm on my time frame that I trade on, which is my 5 minute time frame. I like trading on the 5 minute time frame. But because I see everything is moving up, it has me a little bit more cautious about taking a downwards trade, because I like to trade with the trend. In a consolidative market, it doesn't matter, but if you're trading the trend, definitely trade with the trend. You're definitely going to increase your chances. Sometimes I'll do a sneaky one against the trend if I see a good setup, and but I think that's a little bit more advanced. I think for now you just trade with the trend. And the way that I check this, the way that sort of worked for me is, now this looks like it's consolidative, but it also looks like it's working up. So this trade had me a little bit nervous about coming down. It could have easily pushed through. And the way that I check it is I would go up to the 15 minute and I would just see what's happening on the 15 minute time frame. So if I zoom in here, now we're way away from Bollinger Bands right here. But on the 15 minute, on the higher time frame, remember your higher time frames are a little bit more accurate in terms of your what it's going to do. So it's great to jump up to a quick higher time frame, just confirm your trade, and then go to enter. So I jump up to the 15, and look at that. It's been working its way up from the Bollinger Band, and it went all the way to the EMA, and we know that these are our resistance points. So I've got now on the 15-minute time frame the EMA plus my zone to give me a confirmation for a downwards trend. So now that I've seen that, if I check this, obviously we've missed this trade, it's gone. But had we looked across to this, 5 minutes ago, we would have seen, that although on the 5 minute it's kind of sketchy, we weren't sure whether it was going to push through. The 15 minute has really, really given us extra security to say that usually when it comes to the EMA, usually it'll bounce off it. It might not come all the way back down, but usually it'll at least bounce off it for a little bit before working through. So for me, that's all I need to know. That 5 minute, then that would have been a no-brainer trade for me. And we would have easily won that with our 3 minute time frame, easily. And if this goes down, even here, look, I can see right now we're getting to, if you want to be a true scalper and go real quick trades, which I do when I'm practicing, because I just can't be bothered. I want to take heaps of trades. You can see there's 1 minute left on this candle. Now the price action usually happens. So the change in price usually happens at the end of the candle. So in order to get your entry point, it's very important for me to have the patience to wait till the end of candles. Usually I'll wait till the end of a 5 minute candle to take an entry. Okay. But sometimes if I've really pushed into a really solid resistance line and it's wicked, like here, I've made my zone. If I'm in a 5 minute candle and it's pushing into this area, if it's in the area, I will wait for the 5 minute candle to close before I take my entry for it to reverse. But if it is close to the 5 minute candle closing, let's just say it's at 3 minutes or 4 minutes, and it's wicking down to touch the outer edge of my zone, I will take that trade on a 1 minute, at the end of a 1 minute candle. So I would switch down, and I hope this is all making sense to you guys. Just fire away in the questions if it's not. This is my first time at explaining this, so I will get better at this. So just bear with me. But so in terms of your entry points, let's just try and make it simple. You want to wait till the end of a 5 minute candle. If you look at here, where it's just worked down, we know that our 3 trading points, the places that we like to take trades, is in the Bollinger Bands, the EMA, and the bottom Bollinger Band. And if you can see that just the 20 seconds ago, the 5 minute candle, it came down, it wicked past, and moved its way back up. And when that candle switched, there's the solid resistance that's come through here. And with that solid resistance, it's also paired up with the EMA which tells me that in terms of a trade, that would be a good trade. And it just so happened that at the 5-minute candle closing and reopening it, it was at that zone. So to me, that's an upwards trade very easily, because you'll always see a lot of movement at the end of you'll see a lot of movement in the new candle. And that's why it's so important to wait, even though sometimes it feels like you're in a great zone. You know, it might push down to here, and then it could push all the way through. If I'm only at 2 minutes in a 5-minute candle, usually at the end of the candle there's a lot of movement. So if you enter too early, if you hit this resistance line down here and you enter it, and when it's only 2 minutes into the candle, there's still 3 minutes of that 5-minute candle to go, and it could very easily push all the way
right
through.
Yeah.
So it's that, in terms of, for me, there's a lot of educators that talk about crossovers.
Yeah, so that's what someone was just asking. Do you enter the stop cross and the extension in the DMI? So I know that's what Rico teaches.
Yes.
So that's great. And I think that works well if you are doing
Longer
time frame trades.
Yeah.
Right? Because you really want those additional confirmations. So, and normally then you do the confirmation candle too, right? Where with scalping, when you're doing slightly shorter time frame trades, you don't necessarily wait for those things, because by the time those things have all crossed over, you're already halfway through that candle of a trade. Do you know what I mean?
Let's put just as an example. Right now, I've marked up these zones here. It's pushing up. Okay. It looks like it might push through, or it might respect that. But if you watch the timer there, we're still at 2:20. So if I enter this trade now, it's still got 2 minutes on this candle, and it could go all the way back up through there and continue to go up. We do have a little bit of an upwards trend. But like I said, if I switch to the 15-minute, the 15-minute is now showing something different to me, because it's now broken through that EMA. You see the EMA is coming down here. Because it's now broken through and it's about to close above it, I wouldn't like to take that for a downwards trade. It could still come back down, but that tells me, by switching up to that higher time frame, it has me a little bit more worried that it might start using the EMA as support to keep moving up.
Yeah.
And so it could be going for an upwards call.
Okay. We have to stop it here because we've got our intro call happening
yes. Sorry,
now.
guys.
But hey, at least you've been able to learn marking up your charts, hopefully a little bit more about the Bollinger Bands, the EMA, the zones, the mindset, all of that stuff. We're going to continue to do this. And then when we actually come to do our trading calls with you guys, we will make sure we continue to go into more depth, especially when we take these trades, right? Live with you guys. When we're waiting for them, we will continue to be breaking everything down and trying to make this as simple as possible, because it seems complicated and it seems like overwhelming when you first start. But once you literally have a couple of these steps lined up, and you'll see, once we start entering these trades, you'll soon go, oh my goodness, I now get it.
Yeah.
I understand this. I'm literally just trading in zones, waiting, flicking between my time frames and entering.
Yeah.
And once you start to see it take place live in front of you, once you start to trade it live with us, hopefully that'll continue to give you the confidence to then go and practice this throughout the week on your own. Jump into our chats, ask the questions, come back on these calls with us and ask us, and just continue to get better and better. So
and look, it's 12 o'clock, so we've got to go. But this is my very first time doing this, guys. So I hope that it was helpful to some of you. I really would like to help more. And the live trading, I want to do that. And I want you guys to eventually, I want to get to the point where I'm helping you guys make some real money. But when we start off, well, let's do demo. I've never traded live with other people. So we'll give it a go. And hey, if you guys have any questions, Jemma and I have been so fortunate and just so blessed to be where we are now. And I would really, it would make, I'd be more than happy. I would love to be able to help you guys. If you have questions, you can message me directly. I'm
Yeah.
in the group. I'm not active in there at all. Gemma takes care of all that. But you can message me directly.
Send
and
him a DM and he can help
I'm
you
not-
if you're stuck, right?
I'm not working. I'm a stay-at-home dad, so I'm sitting around, just
Not
doing.
sitting around, but yeah.
Yeah, so I can
But
help
yeah.
out. All right,
Okay,
guys.
have mate, just stop the
Oh, yeah,
recording.
stop. Oh,
Yeah, and just stop the recording. Hopefully that was
how
recording
do
that
I
whole
stop the
time.
recording?
Anyway, we'll figure it out. Okay, guys, have an amazing rest of your evening. Jump on the intro call if you want to. We're switching over to Amanda's Zoom. Otherwise, have an amazing night and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Remember, our crypto call is tomorrow. Really make sure that you can jump on that call. Mike is going to be teaching us how to grow our portfolios. Okay. Awesome. Have a good evening.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
See you later.